Some problems become super simple to solve as soon as you're able to visualize them. Suddenly, everything will fall into place and you will be able to navigate your way to find an efficient solution. Just wait for a moment and you will soon understand what do I actually mean by that. Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. First of all, we will go over the problem statement and understand some of the given test cases. There are also some of the edge test cases that you need to be careful about. After that, we are going to plot a timeline and see this problem diagrammatically. It will help you to understand all of the different scenarios and then we will find out an efficient solution to the problem. As usual, we will also be doing a dry run so that you can understand how all of this is actually working in action. Without further ado, let's get started. In this problem, you are given an array of intervals. Now, how are these intervals defined? Actually, you have an array of arrays and each array is telling me the start time and the end time. So, for example, in this first test case, I have several intervals. The first interval starts at 1 and ends at 2. The second interval starts at 2 and ends at 3. So, you can assume them to be any kind of intervals. They could be hours in the day and these probably could be your class schedules, right? So, what do you actually need to do in this problem? You need to return the minimum number of intervals that should be removed such that all of the other intervals are non-overlapping. Now, these are a lot of words. What do they actually mean? For example, if I have my first test case like this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark each of the interval and I will show them to you on a timeline. Now, this is how my timeline looks. I have all of these numbers available. So, if I start off with the first interval, that is between 1 and 2. So, I have one interval right over here. The next interval is between 2 and 3. So, I can just mark it over here. The third interval is between 3 and 4. So, I see this third interval over here. And then I have the last interval available, that is 1, 3. So, this is the last interval. So, now you can see that all of these intervals, they are kind of a schedule, right? And what you need to do is you need to make sure that none of these intervals are overlapping. Right now, you can see that these two intervals overlap and these two intervals overlap, right? But you wouldn't say that 2, 3 and 3, 4 are overlapping because as soon as this green interval ends, the blue interval begins. So you wouldn't say them to be overlapping. So if you have to make the schedule in such a way that none of the intervals overlap, so what you can do? You have some options available. For instance, you can remove both of these intervals and now what do you see? You have two intervals available and they do not overlap. That means you are good. But over here, what did you do? You removed two intervals, correct? What you need to actually do is you need to tell me the minimum number of intervals you can remove. If you look closely, if I get rid of this interval entirely, then what do you have? You have three intervals that do not overlap. So you have a schedule such that none of the intervals are overlapping. And how many intervals did you finally remove? You just removed one interval, correct? So for this particular test case, the answer will be 1. Similarly, let us look at the second test case now. And this is kind of tricky. You see that you have three intervals available, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2. It may seem that all of them are same. So how do you approach this? But if you try to plot these intervals on the timeline, then it will make sense. I have this first interval available, so I'm going to plot it over here. Then I have the second interval in green, and then I have this third interval in blue, and I'm going to plot it over here. So what do you see over here? You have three different intervals available, and all of them are completely overlapping. To make things easier, you can assume that, okay, this is your football class, this is your tennis class, and this is your chess class. So you need to make a schedule such that none of your intervals overlap. So you need to get rid of some classes. You cannot go to all the three classes simultaneously, right? So if you want to make this a possible schedule, what will you need to do? You will need to remove a minimum of 2 intervals. They can be any two, right? And then you will have a schedule possible such that none of the intervals are overlapping. So in this particular test case, you removed 2 intervals. And that's why the answer to this test case will be 2. what do we have for the last test case? Let us quickly plot it as well. I have my first interval over here, so I plot it. Then I have my second interval 2 to 3 and I can plot it. If you see, this schedule is actually perfect. None of the intervals overlap. You can go to both of your classes. And how many intervals did you have to remove? You did not remove any interval, so the answer to this last test case will be 0. You can now see that plotting all of these intervals on a timeline makes things so much easier to understand. So, if your hurdle was to understand the problem statement, I would recommend you to stop this video right over here and take a stab at the problem once again. Otherwise, let us dive into the solution. Actually, even before you start thinking about a solution, you must first understand all of the different variations in which you can have these intervals scheduled. First of all, you will have the best case scenario where there is no overlap at all. So you can have one event that starts at 0 and ends at 1. And then you can have another event that starts at 2 and then it ends at 3. You see that they do not have any overlap and you can have both of them in your schedule. While iterating through the array, how do you check it? You just need to make sure that the end time of the first event should be less than or equal to the beginning time of the next event. And also keep in mind that if you have a third event, let us say between 3 and 4, then these events are also non-overlapping because as soon as this second event ends, the third event begins. So this is still a non-overlapping schedule. Now comes the tricky part. What about overlapping schedules? Let us say I have another event that starts at 4 and it ends at 7. And then I have another event that starts at 6 and then it ends at 8. What about this scenario now? You can easily see that there is an overlap between the two intervals. And to make sure that your entire schedule is overlap free, you need to get rid of one of them. But how do you decide which one to get rid of? Should you get rid of the interval that is the shortest? Or should you get rid of the interval that starts from the very beginning? So there are a lot of factors. And how do you determine that? To get upon an efficient strategy, you need to explore all of the different possible combinations by which you can have overlapping intervals. Let us go over all of these scenarios one by one. First of all, let us take up this example. I have 3 intervals that look like this. And you can easily see that this interval does not overlap with anyone, but both of these intervals are overlapping. And for this problem statement, you need to make sure that there are no overlaps. So to make this happen, what you can do is you can either get rid of this particular interval or you can remove this interval as well. In both the scenarios, you will have 2 intervals available, right? And you had to remove one interval in both the cases, correct? But consider this to be a subset of a very large problem. If you had to remove one interval out of both of these, which one will you tend to remove? The idea over here is you will want to remove this larger interval. And why is that? That is because as soon as you remove this particular interval, you have a lot more space for more tasks available, right? You can have smaller intervals that can fit into these windows. So you want to make the maximum space. What I'm trying to say over here is that you want to be greedy about ending your tasks as soon as possible. You want to make sure that, hey, as soon as a task started, it should end as soon as possible. That will give me a lot of window for more tasks that are available. So if I had to choose between both of these tasks, I will want to remove this particular interval because now I have more space for other tasks that I can fit into my schedule. I just said that we want to prioritize the tasks that are ending at the earliest. So take a look at this scenario now. Over here, I have 2 tasks available and you see an overlap in between. Now, once again, you need to pick that you have to get rid of one of the tasks. In this particular scenario, you can get rid of any task and things will remain the same, right? Because ultimately, you will just have one interval remaining. So going by our philosophy of picking the task that ends earliest. So I will want to pick up this task first and then this task goes away. But What happens if I add another task to this mix? Once again, you will try to follow the same approach. We want to prioritize our tasks based upon the fact that which task ends earliest. So you see that there is an overlap between both of these tasks. So I'm gonna give priority to the task that is ending earliest. So I pick this task, and then what happens? This task simply goes away. What happens now? You get more window available to add more tasks. And that is how you can keep this green task over here. Otherwise, there were two overlaps, correct? So once again, our idea of taking the tasks that end earliest helps us. So yes, we have decided upon the fact that whichever task ends earliest, we are gonna keep that one. But it comes with a slight catch. Look at this last scenario. Now you have two overlaps available. You cannot just pick up any two tasks and decide that, hey, since this ends earliest, I'm gonna keep this one. For example, you cannot pick up these two tasks and say that this is ending earliest, so I will keep this one and I'm gonna get rid of this task. Because if you remove this task, you still have an overlap available. And then you will want to remove one more task. So you will end up removing two tasks in total. But if you notice, a better solution is available if you remove this overlapping task in general. So now you have two tasks available in your schedule. And this is a better solution, right? So how do we make sure that we are not doing this blunder? While iterating through all of these intervals, you need to make sure that you are iterating them based upon their end intervals first. So how do you proceed? You start off with this task first because this is the first task that ends. Now notice, is this task overlapping with any other task? Yes, it is overlapping with this task, so you get rid of this task. Now what do you have in the sample space available? This is the next task. And this does not overlap with anything, so you can proceed ahead and that's it. So based upon all of this, we can come up with a greedy solution to this problem. Let us take up the sample test case once again and try to plot it out. You can see that I have plotted out all of these four intervals. Now, how do you begin? I told that our greed criteria will be that we will start with the interval that ends at the first. So if you start traversing, this is the interval that ends over here. And you will check, does this interval overlap with anything else? You see that it is overlapping. So you need to keep this interval and discard all of the other ones. So as soon as you do that, this interval goes away. Now when you move ahead, the next iteration will land you over here. You see another interval that is between 2 and 3. This interval does not overlap with anyone, so it is good. You move ahead and you find the next interval that ends at 4. Once again, this interval does not overlap, so you have reached the end of the array. You now have a schedule that is non-overlapping, and then you can just find out the result. Based upon this idea, let us quickly do a dry run of the code. On the left side of your screen, you will have the complete code to implement this solution. And on the right, I have the sample test case that is passed in as an input parameter to the function erase overlap intervals. Starting off with the dry run, what is the first thing that we do? First of all, we check our base case that if there are no intervals available, we simply return a 0 because you don't have to delete anything. Going forward, if you remember, our greed criteria was that we have to pick the intervals that end earliest. So out of all of these intervals, we need to sort them. But we need to sort them based upon the end times. Once all of these intervals are sorted, they will look something like this. You can see that all these intervals, they are sorted based upon their end times. What do we do next? We declare a variable called count. And this is gonna keep a track of all the intervals that we want to keep in our schedule. We initialize it to 1 because there will be at least one interval which we can absolutely keep, right? Going ahead, we also keep a track of the previous interval that we have just traversed. So currently, all of these intervals are zero-based indexing, right? So this is the first interval that we are starting with. So I'm saying that this is the previous interval, and based upon it, we are gonna do our further calculations. So I picked up my first interval and that is based upon the ending time. Now what do? You will start a for loop. Notice that this for loop starts from 1 and it ends at intervals.length. So you are gonna start from the first interval available and then you are gonna iterate through all of the intervals that are available. In the for loop, we do a very basic calculation to check if we have an overlap available. To check an overlap, what can you do? You just need to check that for your previous interval, if the ending time is less than or equal to the starting time of the next interval available, then you can keep it. Over here, you see that 2 is less than equal to 2. So you can keep both of these intervals, right? So you enter in this for loop, you mark the previous interval as I. So this previous interval will now point to 2, 3, and then you do a count plus plus. So the value of count now changes to 2. It means I am able to keep both of these intervals since there are no overlaps. What will happen next? This for loop is gonna run again and I will now point at the next available interval. Check what happens now. Once again we check if the start time of the next interval is greater than or equal to the end time of current interval. So that is how you're detecting an overlap. So the start time of this previous interval, it is more than the start time of this current interval. So it means it is an overlap. That means we will not go inside this for loop. It simply means that we are not considering this interval at all. So the previous interval does not change and I now starts to point at 3, 4. Once again, this loop will run and you will determine that, hey, these two intervals do not overlap once again. The value of count will now change to 3. It means that I am able to keep 3 intervals in total. But you have to return me how many intervals are removed. So at the very end, I will just return intervals.length minus count. So this current length is 4. So what I will do is 4 minus 3 and I'm going to return a 1. And 1 is in fact the answer to this particular test case. So you see how we are able to use the greedy algorithm to arrive at an efficient solution. The time complexity of this particular solution is order of n log n because we are sorting and sorting happens in a worst time case complexity of order of n log n. And the space complexity of this solution is order of 1 because we are not taking up any extra space to arrive at a solution. I hope the problem makes much more sense now. As per my final thoughts, I just want to say that whenever you see problems on intervals or rather timelines, you have a starting time and an end time. Just try to plot it out and see all of those intervals actually on a timeline. That will help you to get a beginning point. If you look at this problem just as an array of arrays, you don't even know how to start. But as soon as you have plotted all of these intervals, now you can start by traversing through the start times. You can traverse them using the interval length, or you can also traverse them using the end point of each interval. So there are so many different possible combinations, and there are other problems also that utilize these concepts. So tell me everything in the comment section below, like what all other problems have you seen? What problems did you face in the video? What other solutions do you have? I would like to discuss all of it, and it will become a very good discussion point. As a reminder, if you found this video helpful, please do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. This really keeps me motivated and I can make more such videos. Also, a huge shout out to all of the members who support my channel. You guys really keep me going. And as a member, you do get priority reply to your comments and early access to new videos as well. Stay tuned for my upcoming video. Until then, see ya.